Welcome back to another mixing tutorial here, and we're gonna be talking about mixing. Um, we're gonna talk about compression and EQ, a topic that many engineers are failing miserable with, right? So, and I'm gonna share a little bit about effects. So I'm gonna play this song from upcoming a vocalist here. It's Andre. So let's play a little bit of a track here.
You got all my love, I don't know what you're saying. Keep on blowing up, that is all you got from saying. Hold on to my pillow, that ain't go around no cry tonight. You stay up in your feelings, I don't really know. I try, I'm fed up, why am I entertaining? Keep on working on my floor, that's why I keep impressing. Go with them, do you see, why do you still bother me? Gonna take off real soon, guess you see me on the moon. Keep working this place, you know how I got raised. Where you got the face, you the one playing games. I'm not going bad, no finish scratch that.
And I'm getting that Timberland effect here. By the way, if you want to know what I'm using this thing here, the Auburn sound. It's a Graylion 2 live changer, right? So this is what is giving him that octave effect here.
But I know what you're waiting for me to walk in. 30,000 in my pocket, have it better just like, ooh.
Yeah. So here's the vocal, right? Your simple, typical tools: compression, EQ. A little bit more EQ, a little bit of a lot more analog, and I'm sending reverbs, delays, and that stuff. Now, how do you approach vocal compression, right? How do you know? I've done some videos already about release and attack. You can research that on your own. So I won't get into that, but producers are struggling with maintaining the natural transit of a vocal. For this track here, this effect goes fine with it, like a Timberland kind of thing, but you're still getting some of the natural dynamics from the lead vocal. So over the years, I have learned to know when to use. Well, most of the time, I'm using compression and limitation limiters. I have grown accustomed to the sound these compressors are doing. So if I play the vocal here, let's play the
Cry
vocal.
tonight, you stay up in your feelings, I don't really know. I try, I'm fed up, why am I entertaining?
With the without the compressor, the vocal sounds lifeless. A certain, if you have a big expensive studio, let's play back.
Keep on working on my floor, that's why I keep impressing.
If you don't have an expensive studio that gives you these big preamps and these stuff, Neve and UAD and these stuff, um, you're gonna have to do a little bit more work to get the vocal in the ballpark. So hence I tend to use a lot of analog plug because that give the characteristics of the analog gear. It'll be very difficult to do that with just like regular digital compressors. I'm using stuff like the Brit channel, a whole lot of analog, and I love it. So I turn on 1176.
Go with them, do you see, why do you still bother me? Gonna take off real soon, guess you see me on the moon.
All of a sudden, his vocal has a little bit more body. You can hear a little bit more bite, a little excitement, which this compressor is doing. If I switch to the black one,
Keep working this place, you know how I got raised. Where you got the face,
the black one kind of works a little bit smooth. But we want grittiness because this is hip hop, right? So if you're not using digital compressors, always drive the input signal so you can get a As a guide, guys, at least mostly compress about negative 7
You
dB.
the one playing games.
Don't go too far, else you're gonna screw up the vocal. You know, there are certain cases where you might go a little bit far if the vocal requires that. If the vocal is still cutting through, the different vocal and transients and dynamics respond differently through these compressors. So, in his case, I'm doing in Andre's case, I'm doing a fast release, a little bit of attack just to catch the main dynamics and hold it there. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm using a second compressor here to top it off. I'm using a little bit of air here, and this is the EQ part of it. I'm boosting a little bit of highs here. You just use your ears, guys. Don't try to mimic and say this is Rayburn's formula to always get popping vocals. These area here are where to start. 10K, 5K, a little bit of excitement. You want a little bit of body, a little bit 200K and other stuff. So use your ears, right? The picture is not going to always look like a nice little hill, Sometimes it's going to look like Mount Everest, So, yes, so I'm using the analog to get a little bit of air around 13K. You might say, Ray, but you're already boosting 12K. Yes, but the analog one gives a different texture. Sometimes if you have good analog emulation, some of the analog emulation, some of them, not all of them, kind of work against. So you just have to know stuff like the Slate is awesome. Get stuff like those UAD, plugin alliance waves. Those are great stuff. Don't get cheap plugins that kind of trying to do something. Get the expensive stuff. Gotta work very well. And most of these big engineers are using these things. So the 13K here with a little bit of air boosting here is giving the vocal a tremendous amount of hype. I can play the vocal back with the ear.
I'm not going bad, no finna scratch that. But I know what you're waiting for me to walk in 30,000 in my pocket.
That's on the top end of the vocal there, right?
Saying, hold on to my pillow, that ain't go.
And now we have another one here, which is the Custom Series Lift. This is giving a little bit more body, like around the 200, 300 range, you can say. And I'm giving a little bit of presence as well. So let's turn this on.
Oh, around no cross tonight, you stay up in your feelings. I don't really know, I'll try. I'm fed up, why am I entertaining? Keep on working on my floor, that's why I keep impressing.
So I'm getting a little more body back with the vocal. I'm pushing a little bit of 145, and that's because I'm compressing. Let's hear what we can do, right? Let's try the Pro EQ before the CLA. Let's see how that works.
Go with them, do you see? Why do you still bother me? Gonna take off rules and guess you see me on the moon.
Let's try the compressor before.
Keep working this place, you know how I got raised.
Sound a little bit more better when the compressor is going into the EQ. Because if I put the EQ before compressor, the low mids I'm boosting here is going to drive the needle a little bit too hard. It's going to over compress the vocal, so you need to pay attention to that. And I'm going down to the final one, which is the FG401 compressor. That's since I'm having some body here to work with, I'm going to slightly compress that.
Where you got the face, you the one playing games. I'm not going bad, no finna scratch that. But I know what you're waiting for me to walk in 30,000.
And those are some of the typical moves. You have to use your ears to get these vocals in the ballpark. And it's going to be very tough without analog plugins. Thank God for analog plugins and analog gear.
In 30,000 in my pocket, have it better just like, ooh.
Because when I line these up with these instruments, it's going to cut right through.
Ooh. $50,000 and girl wanna love me, gotta scream it like, ooh, 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 ooh. Cause I got a chick and you wanna flex, I ain't got a flex.
And I'm getting a super wide 3D sound. I'm using the reverb. I'm using the lexicon. If you notice, guys, I'm using a lot of expensive stuff. Good quality plugs, right? You want to get the best out of your mix. Using a medium chamber there. Let me get a little bit of what that sounds like.
Ooh, 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 yeah, you know I'm next and everything.
And I'm adding a little bit of room here. I'm using the spring verb from the soft tube here. Let's see if I can solo this thing.
They gon' play so best 'cause I got it. Ooh, 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 ooh.
It's adding a little bit more of a back wall. A little knob and shake. It's kind of cool. And I'm setting the mix all the way to wet, so it's creating a bigger sound around Andre's vocal, right? So I just wanted to share that with you guys. This is how the pros get.
Am I entertaining? Keep on working on my floor.
That's how you get the big sound, right? And yeah, I have to make sure you keep in mind. See, I'm using an LNS here again on this digital instrument, like analog summing, you know. So use the ears, guys, and pick the right analog stuff and see what the analog plugins are doing for your signal. Just don't go buy a whole lot of analog plugs. You don't know what the hell to do with it. Use what you know. Study the controls. You know how they behave in the analog world and the digital world. So catch you in the next one.